Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Just Being Candid with me, your host, Candid Matt. Now, on past episodes, I had, guests come on the show, entrepreneurs, and share their truth about what goes on with entrepreneurship or in their careers. And since the show is called Just Being Candid, I figured I should take some time to be a little candid about what I go through with entrepreneurship and my career. So this episode is called Dealing with Grief as an Entrepreneur or Career Professional. So get your tissues maybe. No need for pen and paper to take notes. I mean, maybe you do because I am going to drop some gems. But just listen and enjoy the show. All right. That's the best Kevin Hart impersonation I can do. So like I said, Just Being Candid was a play off of my name. My real name is Candid. People still don't believe me to this day, but that is my real name that my mom gave me. And I decided to do this episode because as an entrepreneur and as a career professional, we go through a lot of things in life. And a lot of people like to discuss all the victories, all the successes. But no one really discusses the bad things that goes on in life, the traumas, the ugly. No one wants to talk about the ugliness that can happen during entrepreneurship and your career. And when I say the ugly things, I'm not talking about losing money, losing clients, and XYZ. I'm talking about losing someone close to you. And, it's actually 3:50 a.m. East Coast time. I was hesitant about recording this episode, but then something came over me and I decided to do it. I try to keep my life as private as possible. I just like to, talk about, entrepreneurship because that's something that I teach on an everyday basis. I teach different entrepreneurship workshops. I create incubators and, teach kids entrepreneurship and goal setting. And so I talk about that a lot. If you aren't new to the show and you heard past episodes, I interview other entrepreneurs so they can share their stories. And, I sprinkle a little bit about my story as well. But this episode, I want to dedicate to my mom. Because back in August 2019, I lost my mom. And it wasn't a sudden loss. My mom had cancer. She had breast cancer. She fought it for some years, but in 2019, it became a little more aggressive. And, excuse me, I know I keep saying but 2019 was like the height of my career. Like, as far as things just finally flowing, I was getting booked a little bit more, to speak. I was up for promotion at the organization that I work for. I was just in a rhythm. I was just going. Everything was just happening. Everything was just happening. I was just in a good space. Knowing my mom was sick and I wasn't able to see her as frequently as I was for the final 3 months of her illness. And she knew. She knew I was going for a promotion. She knew I was heavy in my career, and she told me, like, handle my business. She said, handle your business. Because at the end of the day, you know, before she got really, really sick, you know, she sat me down. She said, you need to go forth with your life. So this is what this episode is about, my grief and how it played a major part of my life, my mom's passing. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I know there's other entrepreneurs out there or other career professionals out there who was probably like in the same position I was in, advancing, and everything's clicking, and boom, you lost that person. You know, and that's tough. You know, my mom played a big impact on my life. Like, the way my life is shaped is because of my mother. She was my only parent, my best friend, my consultant, my therapist, my disciplinarian. That was my buddy, you know. That's someone I spoke to every day, 3-4 times a day. And then when I taught her how to text, oh, it was a wrap. Then when I showed her how to FaceTime, it was even a bigger wrap. You know, we was just on it. And for me to go from speaking to somebody 3-4 times a day, every day, no matter what the occasion is, to it stopping, it took a toll on me. But the crazy part is, yes, I was devastated. You know, when she passed, I wasn't devastated like, oh my God, like it was something sudden. I didn't know what was happening. You know, I knew at some point she was gonna pass because she was getting sicker. And my mom was ready to go. You know, she told us she was ready to go. We're a very spiritual family. My mom was a minister. I grew up in a God-fearing house. God came first. Pray when you wake up. Pray when you go to sleep. Pray when you have any questions, any concerns, anything. Take it to God in prayer. So that's something that I grew up on, and I still live by this day. Take it to God in prayer. But I also took things to my mom in confidence. And anything that I was dealing with, I took it to her. So losing that, it kind of put a dent in my grind because my routine was just broken. And I'm a structured person. You know, I went to Catholic school from pre-K all the way through graduating college. You know, I went to elementary school, Catholic school, pre-K to 8th grade, high school, Catholic school. Then I went to St. John's University. So I always had a structure in my life. And then at home, my mom had a structure in my life at home. Woke up by a certain time, you know, had different little chores, nothing too crazy, you know, but my mom kept the structure. You know, I knew what I had to do every day of the week. It wasn't like a free fall. You know, my mom had a plan for everything. You know, we grew up in the South Bronx. Well, I grew up in the South Bronx in the projects. Didn't even know I was living in the projects because our apartment, you know, we had everything. You know, I had the PlayStations, the Sega Genesis, the Xboxes, you name it. You know, my mom made it happen. Like, I never saw the struggle. And all the way up to my adulthood, when I made a lot of bad choices that my mom told me they were bad choices, but me being a knucklehead and maybe having to learn for myself, at the end, I realized those are some bad choices. Where at some point, you know, my living situation wasn't where I wanted, and I had to, you know, couch hop and stuff like that. And but she was always there. She always said, you know, you can come stay with me, but my mom lived down south. And being in New York and going down south where she lived, there wasn't a lot going on down there. She lived in a really small town in North Carolina. So I'm like, no, Mom, don't worry about it. Like, I got it. And I never really told my mom everything I was going through because, I didn't want to worry her too much. But the point is, she was always there. Someone I can, like, without a doubt, a question, I knew I could turn to my mom. So, like I said, losing her had a big impact. But when she passed, I worked even more, so I could, I don't want to say not deal with what I was going through, but kind of to avoid the reality. So, like, when my mom passed, she actually passed the day I got promoted, which was crazy, receiving a phone call. Like, I was waiting for that news for, like, 4 months. I was waiting to see if I got the position that I was working so hard for. And I got the call the same day my mom passed. So it was like, damn, the fuck? And so I go, it was a Thursday. I go out to my sister's house because that's where my mom stayed at the time. And I go back to work that following Monday. Work. Then when it was time for the memorial, I go down south for 2-3 days. 2 days, I think. Have the memorial. Boat back in New York on Monday. I'm back to work. I'm back to teaching my classes. I'm back to putting on workshops. I'm just, back in the groove. I'm just back. I'm back to speaking. I'm picking up more gigs. I'm just consumed in my work because sometimes we don't want to deal with the reality of things. So work was my drug. I don't drink, so I wasn't turned to alcohol. I was just turning to work. Let me just consume myself with work and not deal. Don't get me wrong. There was times where, I did break down and cry. If I saw certain commercials, I did cry. But I wasn't home crying all day. Or I wasn't, at work in the bathroom crying. I was just like, you know what? Let's just keep working. Have the same grind. Go. Go to these conferences. Go to these events. Network. Meet people. Do things. Put on the best panel. Just keep going, So fast forward, we're into 2020. I'm still doing what I got to do. And then COVID happened. And when COVID happened, you're stuck inside. Your routine of going to work, for me, waking up in the morning, getting dressed, getting on the train, going to work, being at work for 8 hours, being occupied with work things, coming home, then working on my business as a public speaker, and looking for more organizations to speak at and looking for more youth organizations to talk to kids and just setting up my business, preparing to open up, launch my consulting business, like all that, COVID broke up a routine that I had. And then COVID and being in quarantine, it made you like think a lot because now you're in the house. So I was, I had a lot on my mind. I was thinking about like, damn, maybe I shouldn't have worked so much and maybe I should have saw my mom a little bit more while she was sick, you know, just the whole what is and coulda, shoulda, wouldas, and all these different things. And at that time, you know, I was staying at my aunt's house, because I was in transition. You know, you'll learn more about me, but at that time, I didn't have my own place. I was staying at my aunt's house, and like around, I don't know, August, September, I moved. I moved into my condo, and now I'm really by myself. This is the first time I'm by myself in such a long time. Like, because I lived with so many people over the past, like, 5 years. You know, living with my cousin, living at my aunt's, living on people's couches, like, sleeping on people's couches. Like, so now I finally, you know, in a good position. I have a career. I make, you know, great pay. You know, and I moved. I moved in a nice area. I'm chilling. And now I'm by myself. There's no one here. It's just me and my thoughts. And for some reason, as you keep thinking about that person, whoever it is, it doesn't have to be your mom, like whoever it is that you lost in your life, and you're in this quarantine, I don't want to say your mind starts to play tricks on you, but you start to think. And that's what happened to me. And next thing you know, that drive was gone for me. Because everything that I was doing in my life, I was doing it for my mother. You know, I wanted to be super successful so, you know, I can take on vacations and I could take her to, like, my speaking engagements and she could see me speaking. You know, like, everything that you work so hard for a particular person, so that way they can reap the fruits of your labor. Because my mom spent years making sure that I was good. She paid for me to go to private school from kindergarten all the way up to 12th grade, you know. She could easily throw me in public school and save, you know, $400 a month, you know. She made sure I had everything, you know. Remember my 16th birthday, she ran a fly-ass car just to teach me how to drive, you know. Just different things, just different little things. So, you know, COVID and mental health, that's serious. Like, I remember I didn't take mental health that serious until I lived alone. And, you know, you start to think a lot. And then I start to reevaluate things. Like, okay, well, why am I working so hard now? You know, what is my why? And that slowed down. Like, if you follow me on social media, shameless plug, at Just Candid Mac on Instagram, you can see my consistency stopped, because now I'm in my thoughts, and now my go-to person that I get advice from isn't there. I can't pick up the phone, but like, oh, Mom, what do you think about this? Or, Mom, I'm thinking about doing this. Or, Mom, I'm going through this situation, and I don't have that anymore in the physical. So I just wanted to, the reason why I'm sharing this, because if someone's going through that, you know, I wanted to give you some tips on how to deal. Because at the end of the day, that's the whole point, how to deal. So the first thing I did was I had to find the right support system. Because I had people around me, but I had to find the right support system. Because there's people that you would think would be in your life after a tragedy like this. But one thing I can tell you is you see who shows up during a tragedy and you see who doesn't. So I had to start looking at the people around me and going back to my mom saying, you know, why you got this person around you? This person is no good, or X, Y, Z. And now that she's gone, I was able to see like, okay, I see what she was talking about. Okay, yeah, I got to distance myself from that person. I got to remove this person. And then when it came to my support system, I started, surrounding myself with, certain family members and friends to keep me in good spirits. So that's the first thing I would say is create a support system. When you're feeling super low, sad or whatever, that person you can call on the phone and just cry. And they're not going to say anything. They're just going to let you cry. Because sometimes that's all you want to do is just cry. I don't want to hear your advice. I don't want to hear your words. Just let me cry. And then move forward. And there's people like that. People will understand. You just need to get that out. So build your support system. The next thing I did, I've been in therapy for I don't know, 2 years now. It's going to be 2 years, I believe. But I originally went to therapy I went to therapy like way before my mom passed. I was at a point in my life where I was over my situation, and I really wanted to figure out how to get over the hump and get my career in order and get my business in order. So, I found a therapist and I told her I strictly want to talk about my career. Because that's how focused I was back then. I didn't care about anything non-career related. So I'm glad I had my therapist way before my mom passed, because when my mom passed, I was able to say, you know what? Let's switch up a little. I want to talk about like my mom. And we talked about different things, and I was sharing different things. And it's good to talk to somebody who has nothing to do with the situation. Like having your family, your friends is good because you could share stories, reminisce. They can lift you up, lift your spirits. They have that personal connection, with whoever it is that passed in your life. But then it's also good to have somebody who has no relationship, no emotional connection, and they can just advise you, or they can just, tell you how to handle things because they don't have any type of connection with it. And it's just good sometimes to just vent. You just, tell the therapist how you feel, and you could just talk. And, they can give their 2 cents if they want to. But it's your session. So you handle your session accordingly. So therapy really helps, works wonders. You don't have to be crazy to be therapy. It's just good to have an outsider to hear your thoughts, and like I said, has no connection to your life. And another thing I did, which is something I always do, it should have been the first thing I said, was I pray. I've always been spiritual. Like I said, I was raised in a God-fearing house, and my relationship with God, after my mom passed, got even stronger. And I want to strengthen it even more. And there's days where, I just pray. I pray for peace. I pray that, God continues to cover me and help me make the right decisions and give me peace with my mom passing, because I was angry at one point. I was angry. I was angry at God in a way. I was angry at my mom in a way, because it was like, man, I was on my way to see you. Like, you couldn't hold on a little bit longer. But then at the end of the day, I can't stress what I can't control. The selfishness in us wants that person to be here. But we don't take in consideration the pain that they're going through. My mom had cancer, and the cancer was in her bones. So my mom was in pain every day. So the daughter in me and the baby daughter in me and the mama's girl in me, I want her here so bad. Like, don't leave, stay. Fight. Just fight one more day. Let me see you and then you can leave. But that's selfish. My mom was battling cancer for like almost a year. So me to say, hey, can you just hold on and take another day of pain so I can see you? That's selfish. So I had to say, you know what? She's out of that pain and she's with God. That's where she wanted to be. So how dare I say, stay another day? I should be not happy that she's not here, but I'm happy that she's not in pain. And then I look at the COVID and quarantine. I don't know how people are dealing with their loved ones in the hospital and not having access to them. Because I'm going to tell you right now, Candid Mac would have been in jail if my mom was alive at a hospital and I couldn't have access to her. Because I'm breaking all types of laws. That's me. So everything does happen for a reason. But another thing that I suggest is it's okay to slow down. We're at a place right now where you got to be a social media influencer. You got to invest in stocks. You got to learn, you have to have a side hustle. It's just all these things that social media, the news, like just different things. It's just like you're not doing something. And I want to say it's okay to slow down. Like, it's A-okay to slow down. That's what I did. I stopped recording the podcast because I had to figure me out. I had to figure out who is Candid now with her own place, a great professional career, transitioning into an entrepreneur as far as a public speaker. That's the business I'm in. I speak for a living. So I had to slow down and take time out to really understand who is Candid. Who is Candid being? Who do I want to be? Who do I see myself as in the future? So I had to take that time out. People's like, content is king. You got to post every day. You got to have 5 posts a day. And you got to drop, your podcasts every week and X, Y, Z. I had to kill that noise. I don't have to post every day. I don't have to drop my podcasts every week. What I have to do is get my life. Because you can do all those things, but if you don't have your life in order behind the scenes, like whatever you put on social media is fine because 9 times out of 10, you're only highlighting the good stuff. But how are you dealing with the bad stuff? So that's what I had to do. Today is January 26th. I don't know when my last podcast episode was. I think it was like back in October or something like that. I'm not 1,000% sure. But I had to stop and regroup. And I had to take time to reflect and reevaluate my goals. My last podcast was October 1st, 2020. Had to look it up real quick. And now it's January 26, 2021. So you do the math. That's 3 months or something like that. But I had to take time for myself and reevaluate my goals because all my goals, majority of my goals was based around my mom. I want to make it so I could take my mom on vacation, buy my mom a house. She already had a house, but, buy her another house or buy her a car that she wants, just something. Just like I said earlier, my whole goal was to be successful for myself, yes, but mainly for my mom, so she understands that everything that she done for me didn't go in vain. So it's okay to take time to reevaluate your goals, because my why is gone. So what's my new why? Why am I doing it? And it took time, It's still taking time, to figure things out. I literally maybe a couple of days ago got the pen and pad and just started writing out my career goals and my business goals and my wealth goals. Like, I'm back to, writing out and saying my affirmations. Like, I stopped a lot of things that I would normally do because my routine was broken, But now I'm back. And I did this podcast to share, one, to get this out my system, two, and to help somebody. Because I don't know who's listening, but there's somebody listening who lost somebody close to them and they don't know how to deal. Or I should say, you don't know how to deal. If you're that person who's listening and you lost somebody close and you're having a hard time dealing with it, it's normal. Because it's something that you've never been through before. I've never lost a parent because she was my only parent. The last person that was super, super close to me that I lost was my grandmother. And that was back when I was entering like 9th grade. So that was like clearly some decades ago, not to age myself, but that was some time ago. So the moral of the podcast is it's okay to grieve. It's okay to take time away from your situation, but don't give up. Like, it's okay to slow down, but don't stop. Like, I took 3 months off from podcasting, being on social media all the time, and all this extra stuff. I took time from speaking consistently, where like I spoke every other month at different organizations, but I still maintained like my job and, taught my classes and things of that nature. But when it came to work overload, I slowed it down. But now I'm at a space where I'm slowly like picking it back up and getting back to reaching out to organizations and, being on panels and, speaking at different youth organizations. So I have a lot of things lined up for the next coming months. And it's just okay, guys. It's okay to slow down. So just to rehash, I just want to say, if you are going through it, get yourself a support system. That could be friends, family, if you want, look into therapy. Don't be ashamed. There's nothing wrong with it. And you can tell your therapist, like, listen, I want to talk about this. This is what this session is for. This is why I came. You can get yourself a grief counselor. I haven't done a grief counselor because I have just a regular therapist. So, and just know, you can get you a therapist or a psychiatrist. There's a difference in the two. I think the psychiatrist can prescribe pills and medicine. That ain't the route I go. So I just recommend a therapist, but you do what's best for you. Do whatever your insurance covers, That's none of my business. You make the decision. And most importantly, pray. Whoever you believe in, God, Allah, Yahweh, Buddha, whatever you call him, just call on him. He's going to listen all the time. And lastly, even though the person you lost isn't physically there, you can still talk to them. I still talk to my mom. You know, I was talking to my friend the other day. Well, not say the other day, yesterday. And I was telling her, you know, some of the things I was going through. And she was like, you know, you can still talk to your mom. You know, she's there. And I was telling her, like, you know, I'm going through this, that, and the third. And I just want to pick up the phone and call my mom. I want to know what her advice would be. You know, I wonder what she would say. And she was like, you can still talk to her. You know, she's there. Like, talk to her. And she was right. It was like, I could still talk to her. And that's what I do, you know. I grab my mom's picture. And if her picture's not around, like if I'm not in the house, I'll just talk to her, like, in the street as I'm walking. So I do that. I don't want to keep this podcast too long. I just hope that you guys took something away from this, especially if you are an entrepreneur or a career professional, wherever you are in your life. If you was at a place where you was, you know, on a roll and then all of a sudden you lost somebody, I just want to let you know that peace will come. It comes with time. You know, at some point it gets a little bit easier. You don't forget. You're never going to forget the loss. And I'm not going to lie to you. The pain's never going to go away. Like, for me, that's just my opinion. The pain's never going to go away. But the peace will. The peace will definitely come. As long as you keep asking God for peace and asking God to strengthen you during this time, it's going to come. He always answers. He's always going to be there. Because that's what God wants us to do. He wants us to come to him. He wants us to cry to him. He wants us to tell him our doubts and fears and everything that's on our mind. So just do that. Whoever you believe in, do that. So, hope you guys enjoy the show. My name is Candid Mac, and this was Just Being Candid. Follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram at Just Candid Mac. Simple, Just Candid Mac. My name is Candid Mac, CANDIDMACK. On Facebook, it's Candid Mac. You can visit my website, candidmac.com. You can learn more about me. Hope you enjoy this show. Leave a comment, share it. Let me know how you feel. And until next time, as always, stay positive, stay productive, stay blessed. Until next time, thank you for listening to Just Being Candid.